Esports in the upper right hand corner of the map. Catalina looking to try and bring his team back into this, looking to level up this series. It's hard. And down in the bottom right hand corner of the map, our blue Terran player from Baguette. It's MarineLorD. So again, this is from replays. I typed it into the chat because I said it like a minute or so before you guys asked in the chat, but of course it's on a delay, so you won't see it, and so I thought I may as well just type it in. So this is from replays, again, took place. Sorry, I just explained this, so I guess I shouldn't repeat myself for lack of boring you. So yeah, I mean, Gas first going to come in here for MarineLorD, and going to be the same for Heart on the other side of the map. TVT, definitely one of the matchups I feel is really kind of the best when it comes to kind of the early game, because I really feel as though there's so many kind of different ways you can open up. You know, you can have so much versatility with such with different openings, and you can open Reapers, you can go into your tanks very early, Vikings, Raven openings, Banshee openings with cloak, without cloak. That you can be aggressive, you can be defensive, you can open up with 1 gas or 2 gas. You know, there's so many different ways to open in TVT, and it's so kind of delicate as well, because everything has, you know, you have to respond to everything your opponent's doing, because it's a mirror matchup, right? You have to make sure, you know, obviously you have to respond to everything in every game, but in TVT more so than anything, because a slight slip up, a slight kind of, you know, if you underestimate your opponent and his forces for just a slight moment, you can find yourself kind of losing a fight, and, you know, once you lose a fight, all of a sudden the next thing you know is you've lost the game, because, you know, you just don't have enough units, you can't make as much as your opponent's making. There's no, you know, there's definitely a defender's advantage, but if you take a significant loss, you can definitely find yourself on the back foot, and that's hard to come back from. So let's see what happens here. We've got factories on the way for both players, as we'd expect, and the main thing we're going to be looking for in the next few moments is going to be when that second gas is taken for either of these players. If both of them stay on 1 gas, then it's most likely going to be some kind of Hellion drop, and just what I would call kind of a pressure build. As we actually see a Reaper opening from both players, which is interesting off of the gas first. So both of them wanted to get some information, as Hart going to take his second gas right now, and MarineLorD as well. So both of these guys are really going to tech on 1 base for a little while here. Most likely after this Reaper go into some kind of Banshee play or something. The starport's definitely going to come up. It's very rare you see an opening like this without a 1-1-1, without it going to the 1-1-1, the 1 barracks, the 1 factory, and the 1 starport. So yeah, Reaper pops out here. Second Reaper as well from MarineLorD. So this is really interesting. With a Hellion on the way as well, it really looks as though he wants to be a little bit aggressive early on this game. With a little bit of an early Reaper Hellion push, hoping to try and get some damage done from an underprepared Heart, perhaps. And interestingly, both these guys send their Reapers in the wrong directions, and they're about to find each other right now, are they? Well, they're not going to find each other here, but they do find each other's Reapers, and whoa, Hart actually taking a little bit of damage on this, so nice little start there from MarineLorD, getting a little bit of damage, and this will force Hart back, and he's going to continue chasing with a second Reaper coming across the map. No, sorry, that's a Hellion. I don't think it's going to be there in time to shoot this down, which is a little bit of a shame, as Hart now going to sit defensively, about to go into a Banshee of his own. Hellion production continuing here from MarineLorD. If you look at the units tab, it's 2 Reapers, 2 Hellions against 1 Reaper, 1 Hellion, and a couple of Marines from Hart. So again, MarineLorD just going to try and get a little bit of early aggression, early damage done, as we see Cloak Banshees coming up from Hart, and a Viking on the way for MarineLorD. So already we're kind of seeing how these guys can kind of differentiate their openings, and a Tech Lab coming onto this barracks, probably going to be for the starport, most likely at this point, will lead into a Raven. It's a little bit late to start kind of saying, right, okay, let's start building. I guess it's not really too late, and delayed Banshees can work very well, but he probably wants to get a Raven out just to be safe, and he's got a lot of gas built up as well, so I'm just kind of expecting that off the Viking opening, as Reaper picks up 1 kill here, and we'll actually start to pick up a second one, but you know, units coming back home and we'll shut that down. So nice scout from Hart, and finally the starport moves onto that Tech Lab here, as the first Banshee begins to move out onto the map. A mine on the way for Hart as well, and that Raven on the way now from MarineLorD as he starts up his command center. So already kind of similar, very similar build, but a lot of differences between these guys, as the command center started at very similar timings, and reactor coming down, and a Tech Lab on the factory. So pretty standard set of buildings here, and add-ons as well. Reactor on this barracks from MarineLorD. He's building his, because of the way he's opened with kind of a lot more mobile units than Hart has. So MarineLorD really does hold the map control right now, and that allows him to build his natural command center in position here. So he's feeling quite confident as he actually pushes this Banshee away with a Viking. He sees the cloak though, so he has to be a little bit careful. If that Banshee had been able to circumvent the army a little bit and the Viking was out in the middle of the map, it probably would get quite a bit of damage done, because there's no anti-air back here at home for MarineLorD. The Viking is the only anti-air on the map right now. So Raven pops out, and MarineLorD will just have to sit defensively, as Banshees are going to be able to hit 2 places at the same time, and this is maybe going to be a little bit troublesome, because if MarineLorD is, well, he is building this on the low ground here, so if he gets this denied, that could definitely end up with that being delayed for quite some time, as this Viking Raven, again, on their own, is the only anti-air, so it's a little bit troublesome, and Hart coming in here will look to get that SCV almost definitely, and you can see MarineLorD already begin to pull it back, and as Hart sees him go over there to defend it, he moves in with the other Banshee, so great multi-pronged aggression right now from Hart, and starting to just pull MarineLorD left and right, and now also getting a little bit more damage done, picking off a Hellion or 2 there, as Hart is going into extra barracks, whereas a Siege Tank and a Raven of his own, and he's about to start moving in towards his own natural. So this is actually working out really well for Hart. He's continuing to run away here with this Banshee, and that will go down. This Banshee's still denying the command center from being built, though. And that's a big delay at this point. I mean, Hart now has his natural finished. He's going to float it over, so he's actually considering MarineLorD put his down ever so slightly sooner and in position. He's really been able to grab himself a little bit of an extra advantage back from that, as Banshee is actually going to find maybe another Hellion kill, not quite. But that Banshee's been very effective so far, as the barracks are up, Stimpack starts, and the bio play begins here from Hart, as MarineLorD showing us that he wants to go for mech as he starts out on his second factory. He's got a reactor onto that starport, which means he's going to be able to have reactor out Vikings 2 at a time, and really start to take a little bit of air control in this game, which is going to help against medevac drops and units trying to drop in his army. A little bit of a Hellion drop here from MarineLorD, going to be coming in towards the main base. Looks as though Hart was not paying attention to this, and so will be moving out of his army and doesn't have anything at home to defend this. So these Hellions are going to start moving forwards here. Hart now does see it. 2 Marauders pop out though, and maybe Hart did see it then, and he knew this was coming, and had units just in time. And he picks off 1 SCV here, but that's going to be it, as Hart moving forwards with 2 tanks now. He doesn't have air control, which is a little bit scary to go up against, but there's not really much here for MarineLorD. Only Hellions really at this point. As I scan forwards here, we'll see this initial army, but again, I don't think you can fight into this without air control. Not being able to see the high ground, gonna have to use a lot of scans to be able to fire up there. And MarineLorD does have his own first tank on the way, so probably wouldn't be able to get too much done. Hard making a smart decision at this point, I feel, to just move back. He's actually got a worker lead at this point, 5 workers up. And again, considering he's playing bio, his upgrades are starting to line up as well. Stim about to finish, combat chills will be finishing at a similar time, as well as that +1. And once he gets that out and a couple of medevacs, he's going to really be able to start moving around the map and looking for ways to pressure his opponent, probably taking a 3rd base behind it, and just trying to stop his opponent from moving out all too much and building up his own economy. As MarineLorD is still being fairly aggressive himself, considering he's a mech player at this point in time. He's still just trying to do a little bit of these Hellions, but good defense by Hart, and really not losing anything here early on. Only 2 workers killed by MarineLorD throughout the entirety of the game so far. Banshee gets picked off, and that's not the biggest of issues right now. I mean, as the game goes on, the Banshee becomes less and less useful and less viable as well, so maybe could have come in, picked off some SCVs at the 3rd before any kind of detection was there or something, but it doesn't really matter to lose it. It's not the biggest deal in the world, or the biggest issue. So starting to move out here, Hart going to look to see what he can get done. Does he have his first medevacs out there about to come out? So again, as these first medevacs hit the field, he has a little bit of mobility. He's going to try and push this. MarineLorD's still trying to distract his opponent, keep him held back with these Hellions, and he's doing such a great job of keeping these alive and just trying to roast away whatever SCVs he can. He actually gets about 4 or so SCVs there, so that's pretty nice. So this army continues to move forward here from Hart, and we'll be looking to try and maybe attack up this ramp, which definitely wouldn't work. He could maybe try, I guess he can't drop into the natural though, because into the main, because the Viking's in position. So that's again why that air control is important. And Hart, what is he going to try and do here? A couple of medevacs load up some Hellbats, and is he really going to run up into this? 2 tanks, a lot of Hellbats, and Seeker Missile going to go onto this first tank, the second tank as well, and that's actually going to blow up the first one. And you know what? MarineLorD is starting to kind of make this work. Hart's starting to try and make this work. Going in here and continue to move forwards, and it looks as though he just has enough, and MarineLorD seems as though everything was just a little bit out of position at just the wrong time in that fight. His, some of his Hellbats move forward before the rest. Some of his